Hey, everybody. Welcome to another Playful Humans podcast. I'm your host, Mike Montague, and my guest this week, a very special and joyful guest, Genevieve Pepin. She is
Hey!
coming from us all the way across the pond, and I'm super excited to talk with her. We're going to find out how she creates playful workshops to help leaders and teams be more productive with less stress, and talk about her comedy content. I love following it on LinkedIn, and I was a guest on the Mint Green Ukulele podcast. So if you like this podcast, you will love that one too. Go check it out. But first, we dance. All right, that's how that's done, Genevieve. That'll get us started. It's the Playful Humans podcast. Find us at playfulhumans.com. We also do workshops here in the States and game shows and all kinds of fun stuff you can find out there, including a personality quiz if you want to find out what your playful personality is. But we like to start with the joke of the week. The joke of the week is brought to you by Mood Rings. Somebody stole my mood ring, and I don't know how I feel about that. What is the least spoken language in the world? Genevieve, this is our international podcast here. That one is time delay. What is the least spoken language in the world?
I don't know.
It would be sign language. Sign language.
Oh, that's...
There you go. You have a joke for us to get started?
Yes, I do. I do. I'm so excited. That's so cool to be able to tell a joke as we start. Yeah, well, one message that I'd like to tell everybody and that I would love that everybody would know is that your thoughts, they're not the truth. They're messing with you. All right. And the proof of that, well, here's an example. When you're watching Netflix late at night and you're thinking like, that next episode will bring like a very huge satisfaction to my life. Your thoughts are messing with you. All right. Go to sleep. Right. Another example, you're walking down the street, somebody's looking at you and you're like, oh my God, I have mustard on my face. I have my fly down. Like, your thoughts are messing with you. Right. Maybe that person was just passing gas and wondering if it smelled. Right. Other thing, you think you look bad in skinny jeans. You're like, oh, that doesn't look right. Your thoughts are actually, no. Your thoughts are not messing with you. You look bad in skinny jeans. Everybody looks bad in skinny jeans because they just suck.
I love that. And just a little preview of the funny stuff that Genevieve does on LinkedIn and her other social media platforms. I love the songs Music Monday, and you get to play your ukulele and a lot of parody songs. You have an eclectic taste. So I don't actually know this much about your background. But how did you find like 80s music and stuff? I feel like that's where most of your parodies come from.
Yeah.
That are like classic rock.
Well, here's the thing. I'm outside of all of this. I'm a singer and I sing in bands and I sing in a funk cover band. So a lot of the songs that I bring there are songs that I actually know very well because I've done covers of them and I rehearse them like a million times. So that's it. So a lot are, older songs. Like I think there was Play That Funky Music. I just did Nobody Knows You from Nobody Knows You When You're Down and Out. Like originally, I'm not sure who, but Eric Clapton did that. Yeah, so there's a lot of old songs, old classics, and I think that it came from I just wanted to challenge myself to do some musical posts, and I thought it's just very fun to try to pass a message through 30 seconds of a song and play the ukulele, and why not?
So I love this. I love how you are playing for a living. You're having a ton of fun and doing cool things. But I wonder how you got here. This is always kind of my first question for guests. Tell us where in the world you are, how you ended up there, but also, did you ever have like boring office jobs and stuff, and then you had a midlife crisis and you freaked out and you were like, no, I have to go make parody music videos on the internet? Or have you just always been playful, and how did you find a way to make a living doing that?
Option A. Option A is you just said that perfectly. Maybe I don't need to say it. No, so I'm originally Canadian, French Canadian. That's, all the E's
The
in my
accent.
name and the accent. And I currently live in the Canary Islands in Spain. How I got here in a nutshell. I lived in China for most of my 20s. I met my husband there, who is from the Canary Islands, and well, that sounded like a great opportunity. So I'm here now. I've been here for 8 years, and it's great. And no, absolutely not. I think that, yes, as a child, I was very playful, very creative, right? I was creating shows for my family all the time. I was creating comics and storybooks all the time. I was singing, and I was loud and all that stuff. Uh, and just like most of us, I've been conditioned that, that was not okay, or, hush, hush, you're way too loud. Or this is cool, but this is good, but as a hobby, this is not really serious, right? So, yeah, so I studied business international relations and so on. Well, my story is the story of burning myself out over and over again, right? Once I thought that was my boss. I mean, I had a toxic relationship with my boss, fair enough. And then so I'm going to change job. And then I changed job, great relationship with my boss, burning myself out again. I was like, hold on, what's that? Well, maybe it's the country, maybe it's the culture, right? Change continent. Go to Spain, where it's the chillest place on earth. Find a new job, like completely with different people, different background, different job. I burn myself out again. I'm like, hold on a second. I cannot point fingers now, right? I can just point them back at me. There was something inside of me that was not aligned, like that I was fiercely ignoring. And that's how I got onto my personal development journey. And that led me to become a coach. And that led me to see how many people face a lot of the same issues. Especially us that are into the hustling world, that we really want to achieve and really want to create a lot of things. And we're like, I don't mind working, right? I'm going to work. And until we cannot get out of bed. And that maybe that's not, the solution, or the only solution, the only way. And so that's what led me here. And the whole thing about comedy and humor and play is that, to be really honest, and I think that this should be normalized, like, change sucks. And your brain doesn't want to change, and it's uncomfortable. And so why not making fun? Because it's possible to actually make it fun. It's possible to make it entertaining. That's what I like to do.
Yeah, there's so much of that I can relate to. Let's start with the high performer part, and what you were saying there at the end is, I think people don't realize, and this is really the mission I'm on, is to spread that message that you can have fun and be productive at the same time. And that you can be, just because you're playing doesn't mean you're not doing work. Play is not the opposite of work. It's like the fun uncle of work. Like laying around, being lazy, watching Netflix, that is the opposite of work. But I think I'd just love to hear from you why you think that people don't get that. Because I was thinking about it when I was doing my morning workout this morning, and I thought, like, you can bend over and touch your toes 20 times, and you can twist, and you can do sit-ups, and you can work on your hand-eye coordination, and you can do all kinds of drills. Or you could play dodgeball for like 20 minutes, and you would do the exact same exercises. You'd be squatting down, you'd be running, you'd be jumping, you'd be, working your brain and your body, and you would accomplish the same things, but it would be a heck of a lot more fun, and it wouldn't be work. Why do you think people miss that? Why have we been conditioned to work harder than we need to?
I think that it's just our whole perception of being an adult, right? Like, I mean, if I'm asking you, what is professional, right? Like, people think that professional is, not laughing, not being outstanding, except for having outstanding results, right? But like going for really like being, not speaking more than you need to, being like wearing gray just like everybody else, a suit and all that stuff, and I think that also just the fact that, when we were young, at school we had, we had to be, we were in a class of 30, which is still the model now, which I don't understand why, but it's still a class of 30, and you need to be quiet, and when it was playtime was playtime, when it was work time was work time, and they were very, very separate. So I think that comes from there, and also just the whole, I think that the industry has changed, and the what is asked of us has changed. Now creativity, like, I mean, depending on your line of work, but creativity is, and clear thinking and strategic thinking is extremely important in most, leadership jobs. And this is not something that you can force. This is something that you plant the seeds for it to kind of emerge, and you create the conditions for it to be able to happen. And play is part of those conditions. Having fun and being able to relax and take a step back is part of those conditions. But I think that it's just that the world has changed for the, drastically in the last 50 years. And I think that what is asked of us is different, but the way that we think about professionalism and work is the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think you nailed it there. The way I explain it is, we designed this whole world and work system in the 9 to 5 when we needed humans to be robots in a factory.
Exactly.
That, like Henry Ford and it's like Nazi Germany and stuff in the 1900s developed the retirement system at 65, and a lot of these work rules, which is bonkers. So, like, that's probably not the model we want to stick with. But we kind of set it all up when we needed humans to stay inside the lines, to fit into a mass group. We needed everybody to be the same size because we only made small, medium, and large pants. But now, like, we have machines, we have factories, we can be a lot of different shapes and sizes, and we can customize to those, and the jobs the same way, and we haven't quite adjusted that. I think with AI, I've been talking about this a lot this year, but with AI and artificial intelligence, we don't need a human to do basic regurgitation of facts and book reports. We need somebody to express and tell their story. Like, an AI can't tell your story. You have to do that. So I think every time we develop a technology, we kind of forget that we have to level up our humanity and go to that higher purpose of, like, loving and caring and connecting with other human beings. And like you said, being creative, thinking outside the box, knowing when to break the rules. Computers and robots are really great at following the rules. That means we need a human in charge to know, ooh, when's that time where we don't go by the book? When's the time that
Yeah.
we break the rules?
Yeah. I like, yeah, wow. What you said, we have to up level our humanity. Like, this is so true, because again, I think that we're not keeping up with the rate that technology is developing. And yes, and I'd love to add to that I think up leveling our humanity is also about learning how to manage our mind. How do we manage ourselves better? How do we manage our emotions? And because I think that, there's a lot of suffering right now in the world, with the revolution of information and revolution. I mean, the information, like, and anything you want right now is, click a click, and you can have 90% of the information that you will ever need for free. And I think that's, a lot of us also are kind of go back to the structure and so on, because we're overwhelmed, because there's a lot of thoughts and emotions that are conflicting, and we don't know how to deal with that, which, because we've never been taught. And I think that when we learn to manage our mind, again, going back to your thoughts are not the truth, right? Like, what you tell yourself is not necessarily the truth. It's a truth for you and your body right now. I'm not denying this, but there are other possibilities. So what perspective would serve you best, right? And when we start opening our minds to that, and there's layers, and I really don't believe in the magic fix and so on. It's a process. But I think that then we can actually fully optimize our utilization of those technologies. But before then, I think that we're going to stay stuck, and we're going to blame social media or this or that,
Yeah.
right? To be like too bad for us and so on, when it can be used in a way that is positive.
I totally agree with you. And I think you hit on two things that I think are interesting. One is the balance between technology and our humanity, that I think we need to constantly reevaluate what's helping and what's hurting, and our relationship with it. And that technology is not bad. Technology has got us here where you and I can do podcasts for a living and have a lot of fun
Yes.
and connect with humans all around the world. So we wouldn't want to get rid of all of it. But there are all also things like streaming feeds and doom scrolling and stuff that is not helpful, that's not making us happy. It's not making us more successful either. It's even with what we do in our podcast and your creative content, the algorithms are not helping you. You're helping them get more eyeballs on their advertisements. And so it's really hard to kind of understand what's fact and what's fiction when it comes to technology sometimes. But I think it's both. The answer is right behind you on your wall. Yes, and
Yeah.
yes, we want technology and we want humanity. We can't have one or the other. And that brings me to kind of my second part, which you mentioned a little bit, which is we do need order as human beings. We do need things, and it feels good when we're safe, and we need psychological and physical safety. But what makes life interesting is the chaos, the randomness, the chance. If everything is in perfect order, it's boring, but also that's impossible. We get stressed trying to keep everything in order, and that doesn't work. And so what I've kind of going back to again is that yes, and like we want a movement between order and chaos. We want to get everything ready, plan for our podcast, look into your bio, read the background, get your story, and then hit go live and let it be random and let it be whatever it is, and enjoy both sides of that coin.
Absolutely. And I love that you said that before we went live. So should we go live and figure it out? Yeah. Okay. For sure. And this is something you mentioned on the Mean Green Ukulele podcast when you were on, and I thought it was very, very well said. The order and the chaos and how we need both. And when I talk, I coach a lot of leaders around productivity and how to just manage their time and what they focus on and so on. And I talk a lot about that, of like the importance of planning. Right? Planning is very important, meaning that because you are focusing, you're making decisions in advance of what you're going to focus on and so on. And it helps you to have a vision and so on for how you want to spend your time. However, the plan goes out the window most of the time, right? So then when the plan goes out the window, because it's going to happen, like you cannot put yourself to the expectation that the plan's going to happen. There's some stuff that there's outside of your control. But when the plan goes out the window, yes, accept the situation without judgment, right? Denying what's happening or being frustrated about it won't help. I'm not saying to deny your emotions. You have the right to be angry or whatever. That's okay. But we want to accept it without judgment. We don't want to shoot ourselves and all that stuff. And how can I adapt to win? Right? Or how can I make the best out of the situation? Yes, and when you've planned ahead, you already know what are your priorities. So then it's a lot easier to yes and in a productive way, right? For example, the classic example is I plan to do a lot of focused work today, and it's 4:30 and I've done nothing but attend useless meetings and be in my emails. Yes, that's just what it is. I'm not going to blame myself. And what is the one thing that I need to do before the end of the day so that I feel like that's my highest priority and I feel like my day will be a success anyhow, right? So yeah, was it the perfect day? No, but the perfect day, when does it happen anyway, right? Like this is an expectation that it just causing frustration. But so that also just the order between planning and yes ending, like the improv and the planning, the order and the chaos. I see that in so many situations. And I find that it's very helpful to think like that, because oftentimes we think that the plan is what should happen.
Right.
And oops.
It's also why I like to, start my day. It's a little bit later in the day for you, but I'm starting my day with talking to you. And that's a pretty awesome thing. So, by 10 o'clock, I'll have accomplished all I need to accomplish today. I made some magic happen.
My pleasure.
Now, I wanted to ask you an interesting one. There's two of them. One, we didn't plan. There was an order for my cup to match your shirt today, but that's just the random chaos that we can appreciate. And two, I wanted to talk to you specifically about making a living playing for a living. So you mentioned in your work that you help people be more productive with play and stuff. And I think sometimes people struggle with that, but I think they could conceivably grasp that being playful, being unique, doing your song parodies and your comedy makes you different from everybody else. And that's really good in marketing.
Mhm.
So could you talk a little bit about maybe the play benefits that you've seen specifically in business
Yeah.
by being playful and being unique and weird and funny?
Yeah.
Sorry about the weird.
Yeah.
That was I was talking about myself there, maybe.
I would like to bring weird back to a cool
Yeah.
term. Okay. It doesn't need to be negative. Um, so I would say this: play is extremely helpful in order to apply concepts. And that's how I use it in what I do. Right. Obviously, like, I like to make entertaining content so that people want to watch. But the playful element is, how do we learn? Right? Do we learn by being told what to do? If that was the case, go on Amazon.com and grab any book, and therefore you'll have all the information you'll ever need. But that's not how it happens, is it? Right? We need
What?
to apply. Damn, you mean that library is not all about
Yeah,
applying
I
my
only
life?
have
Like, you mean
a
that
few
six pack? Yeah,
a few
yeah,
dozen books behind me, and I'm still not fixed.
yeah. Well, and I always say, like, if it was only about knowing what to do, we'll all have a six pack. I don't. So, and not many people do. So yeah. So using play as a tool to connect and collaborate, and also practice some concepts, and also allow ourselves to be creative, just creates a space where we again let go of the judgment. I talk a lot about judgment, but I think that this is a huge black cloud in the back of our mind that is, again, it goes back with the work, the order, the being serious, the being professional, of like, you shouldn't do life like this, you shouldn't be like that. If you have an idea, it needs to be a good one. Like, really? Like, we cannot. What's the myth that like all of our ideas are good? No. Like, that's the thing with the yes and as well in the brainstorming situation, right? Most of our ideas suck, and that's okay. Like, because a good idea is often a third alteration of a idea, right? So that's also something that I do in workshops, is like, okay, let's find a new way of brainstorming. We're gonna expand ideas first. We're gonna be creative first, using the yes and to not judge any idea. And oftentimes I bring silly examples so that we can really be silly and really dive into the silly, again, to open up that safe space of, oh, we're doing a penguin theme office party, cool, and then we can just go as crazy as we want. um and then after that, when we have like 50 ideas, then we can go and judge them, because it's necessary to judge. Like, I'm not saying judgment is bad. I'm just saying that we cannot be creative and generate ideas and be, just think outside the box and judge at the same time. Those things are two different steps, and they need to happen separately. And so yeah, so that's an example, for example, of using play in order to bring out creativity and collaboration in people, and
Yeah, I mean, I
getting out
think I
getting
can
out of the
yes
judgment
and that
place.
a little bit by saying that um, when you optimize, when you order and you measure stuff, and I had to get rid of my smartwatch and stuff because I'm like, I don't need to count steps. I don't need it reminding me that I haven't gotten up from my Zoom meeting in 3 hours. Like, I know this. My legs hurt. But um, I I think when we try to measure, we can get a little bit better, and that's what fools people. That, like, when you work
Mm,
hard, sometimes you get a little bit better, but there's these diminishing returns, right? That you get a lot better at the beginning, but then you get a little bit, and like, oh, if we just get 1% better, we're technically better than we were yesterday or last year. But with creativity and thinking outside the box and the brainstorming that you're saying, is if you completely change the game, you can get 2, 3, 10 times better by
absolutely.
stop doing the stupid stuff that you've been doing the whole time. And so I think that's really what people and business owners miss, is that sometimes optimizing, measuring, and other things can increase productivity by micro
Yeah.
steps. But if you really want to disrupt, change the game, change your life, find happy, fun ways to do things, those are generally not done through like rigorous research and testing.
Yeah. I love that you say that, because I think that also when you mentioned productivity, I think creativity and all that stuff is the same. Is a lot of the models that we're using, again, like, yeah, you can use some small increments and so on, and that's great, and it can make you feel good, and you can check that box. But oftentimes you just need to change to change the way that you think about it, change the way you think about time, for example. Right? It's again, when I need to convince people that they need to take time out of their week to plan their week, then I'm finding out that, yeah, like it's not a waste of time to actually plan your week. It's way the opposite, So same thing with creativity. Let's just change the way that we think about it. It's not about, okay, you need to be creative now. Come on. And I'm going to judge everything you say. And then I'm going to tell you need to be more creative now. So we just need, I love that. Let's just question the models that we're using, because it worked till the day it doesn't work anymore. And play and having fun and using judgment, but strategically, is more sustainable than using it all the time.
I love that. All right, now let's pick it up and have some fun here. We're going to end with a bang.
Let's do it.
Last question for you is, what would be the most fun for you? Do you have anything on your fun bucket list, or like a dream, I don't know, vacation, gig? What do you think would be the most fun for you?
You said that, and I haven't thought of that in a long time, but I had an image come in my head. A gig, that would be great. The most fun, like anything, right? It doesn't have to be work related. I would love to do a show with comedy songs. That'd be great. Right?
That would be awesome. Yeah, I feel like you're not far away. You got enough songs. You could put together an album and a little one-woman show there if you wanted, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, with like a little thing that when I lift my foot, there's like a symbol, like a I don't know how to say it in English. I'm sorry.
I would go maybe more with like the KT Tunstall like looper than like the one-man band, so you don't have to like clack your knees together for the cymbals and stuff. But like where your head's at. It sounds like a ton of fun, and we'll get you on a big stage for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, the last question for you is, would you like to play a game?
Yay! Yes, I do.
All right. Haven't had anybody say no yet, so let's do this. We are going to play Survey Says. I asked 100 people this question. The top 5 answers are on the card. We just want you to pick one of the top 5. So we'll start with name something you associate with London.
Big Ben.
Big Ben, number 1 answer. 50 points there. Nicely done, Genevieve. 50. All right. Number 2. Name a decision people make that will affect their entire life or the rest of their life.
College.
College is up there. Number 4. Yeah. Marriage, number 1. Having kids and their career job on there. All right. Last one. You got 2 out of 3. You're already a winner, so no pressure. Name a movie that has a tragic ending.
Titanic.
Titanic is the number 1 answer, 34 points. Although I am slightly disappointed you did not pick Romeo and Juliet with my last name. But number 2, we also had Love Story and Thelma and Louise.
But it's the same. Hold on. It's the same actor, though, that plays in both movies, right? In Romeo and Juliet and Titanic. So maybe that was not that.
There you go. I think that works. That's totally fair, for sure. All right. Now, here's what you need to do. If you liked our conversation today, you need to go find Genevieve Pepin at joynotstress.com. Leadership workshops, all kinds of fun, cool activities and good things. And you are listening to a podcast, which means you like podcasts. Go to Mint Green Ukulele Podcast. You can find my episode on there. We talk more about these things, but also lots of other cool people and episodes. Genevieve, final thoughts, questions, asks, or gives for the audience?
I would say, first of all, thank you so much. I had a blast with this conversation. Second thing also, I'd like to add, I'm also doing a sketch show / podcast called The Happy Leader, which is on YouTube. So if you want to go and check that out as well, for you leaders out there, if you want to be happier.
Sounds awesome. Thank you so much for being on the show. Genevieve Pepin, joynotstress.com. You can find Playful Humans at playfulhumans.com. And there's a playfulness quiz there. There is a community of other adults rediscovering the power of play. There's lots of cool content and interviews like this one. So go check that out, playfulhumans.com. And until next time, if you can't be good at it. That's what I always say.
Oh, that's a great one.
Dance out.
Don't wait for tomorrow. chasing the sun.